So along with that, I said that we had a shift pushing rebuild kit as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done while this is out, get this prepped basically to go back in so that when parts show up, we can just slap the new clutch and pressure plate on, throw the transmission back in, and be up and running. Hopefully getting this thing done sooner than later. I really want to clean the shop and get back on the Datsun. So I want to get back to doing fun things. Need this to get back to be able to doing fun things. So these are 3 T30s that hold this top cover in. Normally I would buzz these out with the impact, but the way that this transmission is going, I don't really feel like breaking anything. And here we are. So we've got one. You know what, I'm actually gonna switch to, all right. I like fabric gloves for doing non-oiled things on vehicles because I end up hitting my hands, my knuckles specifically on a lot of things, and the fabric offers just a little bit more protection than the than a nitrile or a latex glove does. But the second that you get oil on those fabric or leather gloves, they start to deteriorate, and then you can never get them clean either. So yeah, that rubber is completely gone. I mean, there's the new one for comparison, right? So no seal, so we're just allowing moisture basically into the transmission. This is a fluid cavity, meaning that transmission fluid is down there in there, and obviously can spill, so we don't want that. We also don't want to smell like transmission fluid inside the cab of the truck. So once you've got the cover off, the retainer off, this guy just pulls out. Little bit concerning as to where everything else went, but we're gonna not think about that and just hope that the small plastics deteriorated and got ground up in the gears. Sound good? Sounds good. Also important to note which side the flat is on. So this is a flat and a forward spacer, and these correspond with how the actual shift lever latches on. So on this particular one, it was facing the passenger side. I also much prefer to do this with the transmission neutral. So something else to consider before you just, go yanking that out like I did. Now in this kit, we have a replacement pin here. Why we only have one when I hope we have two. We only have one. Well, that kind of sucks, because this pin is really what locates that bushing and eliminates a lot of that slop. This one's actually not in bad shape. This one is extremely worn. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that guy out. We're gonna check the bag one more time to make sure that we don't actually have two pins. Whoa, get over here. There's one pin there. No other pins in the plastic bag. Second pin in the envelope. Now a lot of times with these, you take a pair of channel locks, make sure that you're offset from the pin itself, the head of the pin. Oh, and I don't think this is gonna work. A lot of times you can just basically kind of press these out using a pair of channel locks. Oh, nope. That is not happening. So we're gonna try giving a little tappy tap tap with a hammer and a pin. I have a couple of custom drifts that I bent over the years that serve this purpose quite well. And remove. And let's see if we can get this side out. And try and grab these guys. Nope. Grab a different. All right, let's see if we can't finish these guys this way. So I will say this, if these do not feel like they're coming out, do not try and force them. There are other ways of getting them out. That's just the easiest way. These ears on this top plate are aluminum, and I have cracked them before, doing the very thing that I just did, that I just told you not to do. But the first time that you hit it, you should be able to feel whether or not it's moving. And you should be able to see the head move. And if the head isn't moving after the first and second time that you're hitting it, do not try and force the issue. You will crack the ear, you will have a bad time. So here's what we're looking at. These are really, I mean, these are the hinge pins basically, right? And they're just so, the ends are just so worn. So they're supposed to be cylindrical, right? Here's a new one. Here's a worn one. And that's basically what's giving that shifter all of its slop. So we have some cup or ball bushings, depending on what you want to call them. They have a hole in the side of them. These help locate the sphere of the shifter in the hole itself. And then these holes in the side are where the pins actually pass through. We have a rubber grease seal. It looks like we have 2 shims. So I believe we should be 1 shim in bottom, and then 1 guy in the middle. And what you basically want is the shim is gonna, they have like a natural little wave to them, right? So the shim is gonna try and press it up, but with this bushing depressed, you want it to be flush to the bottom of the pin. The bottom of the pinhole itself. And I'm not gonna be able to show you that because I don't have macro, but that's basically what it is. So mine are actually in pretty good shape. We're going to tap this guy back in. So going better. Just want it to be flush, don't want to go too much. Same goes for the other side. So we've got 1 in, that is not the new one, that is the old one. That would have been annoying. This side's pushing almost all the way in. I probably could clean up the inside of that hole, but again, light taps. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. And we are in. We've got 2 new pins in. We've got the cup in. I'll show you right there. So 2 new pins, cup. You can see the shim right underneath it. We are going to drop the shifter back in. Actually fits pretty well. Maybe. See if we can get this guy locked up. In gear. We are in gear somehow. There we go, we're out of gear. So now we've got the height. We've got another one of the blue bearing surfaces, right? Cup bearings. And we're gonna check that to the deck on the top of the shifter. So this is actually sitting, it's actually sitting really well. These shims are, I don't know, they're whatever that thickness is. And I think that if we put that on there, we're gonna be too high. So the reason that this is kind of a critical dimension is the inside of this rubber boot has a gasket surface on it. And that gasket surface actually sits over the top of these two. So you want them to be flush. If this is sitting too low or if it's sitting too high, you're gonna get slop or you're gonna get leakage. It's just not gonna seal correctly. So next step should be put this guy on here, rotate the holes. And get that underneath there. That, and we will drop the 3 Torx back in. Now, as with any sheet steel, flat piece of sheet steel with a gasket in it, you want to make sure when you're putting these back together that you torque them evenly, right? You don't want to fully tighten one on one side without drawing the other ones in first. If you do that, there is a tendency to distort the sheet metal and ruin your gasket seal. So all I'm doing is, I know that looks flush, that's all I'm doing. It's just flush, it's not tight. And I'm using my fingernail as a gauge basically. Once it starts to pinch on my fingernail a little bit, then I'm moving to the next one. We're gonna draw these in nice and even. And then we're gonna go tight in about 1/8 of a turn. So tight, about 1/8 of a turn, tight, if I can keep it in the hole. So tight, there, and about 1/8 of a turn. And that's it. So now if we drop the shift lever back on top, look at that. There's no more slop and play in that. We're not hunting for gears anymore. We are not deep sea fishing. We are accurately locating our gears. Ta-da! Shifter bushing rebuilds.